Last Son Jim, and welcome to the first ever Jim's Comic Corner. This is a video where I'm going to be reviewing graphic novels. Probably twice a month, maybe a bit more. It depends on how much time I have and what else is going on. But I hope to do it at least twice a month. As we all know, I'm very DC heavy, so it will probably lean towards DC, but it doesn't mean to say that it's only going to be DC stuff. I've got a load of Marvel graphic novels, some Dark Horse stuff, and even some independents as well. So I'd like to talk about some of those in the next few videos and whatnot. But I figured we'd start with a big one. I did a poll on Twitter as to 3 choices of what should be my first review, and it came back and it was pretty much unanimous, and I'm glad it was, with The Death of Superman. There you go, classic cover there, cape on a stick. I love this story. I've loved this story forever. When it came out in individual comics, obviously I've been into comics most of my life, so I collected all of them as and when they came out, and then when it obviously got released in graphic novel form, I bought that as well. I've probably read this story probably about 15 times in my life. I love it, and it changed a lot about the DC universe going forward from this. This was such a big event in the DCU. I mean, it's Superman and he dies. Doesn't actually die though. Just like everything in every single comic ever, no one ever really dies. It just turned out that his heart slowed down to such a slow beat that it seemed that he was dead, but really his body was compensating for all the injuries he took, and he eventually came back. That's another story. Right now, let's talk about what happened. This comic book is great. Doesn't really have all the ins and outs of an intricate story. It's essentially, the entire book is one massive fight. But because it's one massive fight, it kind of makes you think that it's called The Death of Superman. You know what's going to happen, but it has to be such an epic fight for it to get there. It can't just be over really, really quickly, because at the end of the day, it's Superman, and Superman is the ultimate, superhero, and is unbeatable. Unless you talk about kryptonite, but we don't. Not in this book. Essentially, he just faces a being that is infinitely stronger and faster than he is, and it takes everything that he has to take the monster down. This story was written by a number of people. Jerry Ordway, Louis Simonson, Roger Stern, but mostly Dan Jurgens. Now, Dan Jurgens, I'm a big fan of, because he's been part of the DC universe, forever. It seems like he's still part of the DCU now. Not only was he like one of the main writers on this, he's been all the way through the New 52. He's done some work on Nightwing. He's done work on pretty much everything. Justice League, and obviously he invented Booster Gold, which is a great character that needs a little bit more time. I think Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. So Dan Jurgens, big thumbs up. Talking of Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, now in this comic book, it starts by Doomsday appearing. Doomsday appears and just starts demolishing everything in his way. Everything and anything. Just doesn't matter what. The Justice League dispatched to take care of him. Now the thing is, this is a different Justice League than what everyone thinks of the Justice League, which is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, and now Cyborg. This is a different incarnation in Justice League, whereas it's Superman. Obviously the others are in it, but the ones that they use in this book are Superman, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Ice, Fire, Bloodwind, and Maxima. So they're not your regular... Oh, sorry, and Guy Gardner, who's not currently a Green Lantern. He's kind of a Yellow Lantern. Yellow are the bad Green Lanterns. Anyway, that's a side story all on its own as to why Guy Gardner was kicked out of the Green Lantern Corps, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. So, I digress. That's going to happen a lot. So basically, they are dispatched and they try and take out Doomsday, but there is no giving it. He just destroys them, and I mean destroys them. He puts Blue Beetle in a coma. He beats Guy Gardner so badly that he can't see. Booster Gold is taken out. They're all basically wiped out. They don't die, none of them die. The worst is Blue Beetle ending up in a coma. But they're basically just beaten to a pulp. And that's even with Superman on their side, all trying to take him down at once. He just ruins them. Doomsday just ruins everything in his path. No stopping him. And Superman's like, what do I do? So Superman's, fighting with him. He realises that Doomsday's on his way to Metropolis. It's the last thing that Superman wants is for Doomsday to ever get to Metropolis. So he lobs him, basically picks him up and just chucks him into a mountain like 100 miles away. Which is Cadmus Slabs, which is another story all on its own. See, the thing is with graphic novels is, they're always like combined stories. But there's so many little offshoots from it that you could spend days talking about it. Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video, because I love comics and I've been into comics for such a long time, and I love talking them, and I love the offshoots and everything. So I thought I'd bring my passion to YouTube. So Doomsday's over by Cadmus Labs, and him and Superman just basically ruined Cadmus Labs. Superman picks up it's been grown into a tree, but it's made out of steel. And he hits Doomsday and he's like, oh brilliant, done him. Doomsday breaks out, Doomsday can't fly, so he starts jumping. Jumping his way to Metropolis, right? 10 miles a jump. So Superman goes on after him, but Doomsday gets to Metropolis. Supergirl, this is where it gets nicely confusing. Supergirl and the second Lex Luthor are in Metropolis. Now, second Lex Luthor is actually the original Lex Luthor, but people don't think he is because he's telling them that can't remember whether he's his son or his clone. Anyway, he's got a lot of red hair. And he's going out with Supergirl, but it's not actually Supergirl. This is why I love comics. It's a shape-shifting creature that's shifted into Supergirl for reasons I can't remember. Probably because Supergirl... I don't know. I don't even know. That's something I need to look into. There we go. See, you've just opened up a new rabbit hole for me to dive down. But basically, Supergirl is a creature. And Lex Luthor is Lex Luthor, but people don't think he's Lex Luthor. Supergirl's like, I should go and help Superman. So Lex Luthor's like, yeah, alright, off you go then. Doomsday with one punch, whoosh, smushes Supergirl's face and she turns back into her alien form. That's how hardcore Doomsday is. He can beat you to your original form. Yeah. So now Doomsday's full on in Metropolis. Superman is trying to take him out. They end up going underground. They set off an explosion. Blah, blah, blah. Lois and Jimmy are in a helicopter following with the story. The helicopter gets taken out. Superman saves them. And at this point in the thing, Lois is married to Superman. And so he says to her, look, take care. I've got to do whatever I can to take Doomsday out. No one else is going to die. Because at this point, death tolls are around 100 people, which is pretty low. But because of Superman, so he's like, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take him out no matter what. And she's like, but all he has in his mind is destruction and killing, and that's not you. And he's just like, well, that's what I've got to be if I'm going to take him out. So Superman just takes everything he's got, and he's tired because they've been fighting for hours, just like bah, 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 bah. And they both just start wrecking each other, and then they're hitting so hard, right? They're creating craters in the ground, and the sound of the hits are shattering the glass of the buildings. That's how hard they're hitting. And then with like one last foray, they both hit each other. Both done. Dead. Nada. Done it. Out of it. Gone. Finito. Not really. Done. Okay? And that's the end of this story. Like I said, it's not the world's longest story in one. There's no twists and turns. It's basically Doomsday arrives, they have a fight, they kill each other. But because of the length of the fight and because of how badass Doomsday is, and the fact that he does get the best of Superman, it changes everything. It changes everything in the DCU. What I will say is, where was Batman and Wonder Woman? I mean, I'm not saying anything, guys, but seriously, you left him out there. The last few pages of this comic are splash pages. If you don't know what splash pages is, basically one picture on one page with writing. And the last, jeez, I mean, it just goes to show you how epic it is, really. The last, okay, two. I'm just going to show you. Look at this. It's just splash page after splash page. Okay. That's where Superman says goodbye to Lois. That's where Superman's like, nah, mate, I'm not having this no more. Doomsday's going down. He even says it, but now Doomsday gets his. They just start having a big old Barney. Like, look. Doomsday basically forces Superman's head into the ground. Nice one. I quite like that. That's one of my favourites. And then where's the last hit? There it is. The very last hit, both of them, as hard as is humanly possible, hit, dead. Leaving a bloodied Superman that, on his way out. It's the last page in the entire book. It's the day that Superman died. I love this graphic novel. I love it. It's following books, World Without a Superman and Return of the Supermen are epic. Return of the Superman is the thickest book, which I probably will get to, but I won't do them one after the other. I think that might be a bit much. I think what I'll do is I'll wait, and then later on down the line we'll talk about those. The thing about this book is it's beautiful in its simplicity. You don't know where Doomsday comes from. You don't know what he wants. All you know is that Superman's got to stop him. And that's what Superman does. That's what he spends his entire time in the comic doing. Now, a little bit of backstory. Doomsday's creation story is messed up. Okay? Doomsday is a Kryptonian being. So he's from Krypton, just like Superman is. However, he's very, very different than Superman in that his origin story, a Kryptonian scientist wanted to create a super being, a being of an unbeatable being, basically. So what he did is he created this baby in a test tube. This is where it gets messed up. And he put the baby out into the harshest land in Krypton. And obviously the baby, like all on its own, just baby out there. Baby died almost instantly. Right? So the scientist goes and picks up the remains from the baby, clones another baby, puts that baby out into that same bit, lasts a little bit longer, dies. Takes the remains, you see what I'm going, clones another baby, puts the baby out there, lasts a little bit longer, then dies. Over the course of, I think it's around 100 years, just keeps doing this until he creates Doomsday. Every time the baby's put out there, it lasts a little bit longer, can deal with the elements, can deal with the creatures and that a little bit longer. So each time the baby's put out there as a clone, it's a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger, but it also hates a little bit more and hates a little bit more until you end up with this beast that's basically just bone and anger and hate. It escapes Krypton before Krypton explodes, a long time before Krypton explodes. It goes from planet to planet, just destroying everything it can. And that's all it does, is just destroys. Then gets to one planet, I cannot remember the name of it, begins with a C. Candaron, something like that. And it, for 3 years, it just destroys this entire planet until the only people that are left are the royal family on this, in this one city. They join forces to become a being, like they join all their life forces to become this massive being, right? And they manage to knock him out. That's the best they can do, right? They become this massive being with an energy blast, they knock him out. What they do is because they believe him to be dead, but because he's not worthy to be buried on their planet, they truss him up and with stuff, put him in this casket, and they shoot him off into space. Because that's the only place, obviously, where he can't do any harm, is if he's like bound and stuff. They think he's dead. They've still bound him up and put him in a casket. That ends up somehow, this comic book, landing on Earth. And that's where Doomsday comes from. And that's where he starts at the beginning of this comic. Is breaking, I mean, you don't see the casket, but you see him breaking out from under the Earth, because obviously it's buried itself in the Earth. That's where Doomsday comes from. Now, in the new Batman v Superman film, we see a very, very different version of Doomsday that's created either from Zod or from Zod's DNA. So it's not going to be the exact same Doomsday, which is a shame, because I think Doomsday's origin story is, it's messed up, isn't it? But, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what take they do on it. So that's what Doomsday is. That's Doomsday in a nutshell. He's just hate and anger. He's just mental. There's something wrong with him. So he technically kills Superman, and Superman technically kills him. Doomsday does come back a number of times. They say that every time he comes back, obviously, he's a little bit stronger than he was before. So let's see where that takes us in whatever. That's my phone just going off. Whatever form that takes us in the next time we visit a comic with Doomsday in it. But for now, I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously, it's going to take me a little while to get into a total rhythm with these. This is just my first one. If you've got any ideas of stuff that you want me to review, throw it in the comments. Or obviously follow me on Twitter and tweet me up a storm. But yeah, tell me what you'd like me to review, even if it's something I've never read before. I'm totally up for that. I have no idea what the next one will be. I might do another poll on Twitter, so keep an eye there. But until next time, this was Jim's Comic Corner, and it was the death of Superman. The death of Superman. You should check it out. Definitely. I love it. Alright, take care guys, and I'll see you soon.